Hello to all the dear viewers of my channel. Maurice Bucaille in his research has come across parts and verses of the Qur'an that he finds quite beautiful and worth contemplating. Let's go and examine them together. Maybe we'll discover something too. According to our French researcher, the Qur'an described human physiology centuries before science reached it. Let's look at this verse together.
And verily in cattle, too, will ye find an instructive sign. From what is within their bodies between excretions and blood, we produce for your drink milk, pure and agreeable to those who drink it.
This is not an ambiguous poem. It's a clear text from the 7th century when physiological science had not yet reached this level. Food is digested in the intestines, absorbed into the blood, and from there transferred to the mammary glands. No one knew this 1400 years ago, but somehow it is written in the Quran. Let's examine the next verse together.
He created the pair, male and female, from a small quantity of liquid when it is poured out.
As you have noticed, this fluid is the sperm. A brief text but scientifically accurate. According to our researchers, such precision is remarkable and commendable. But from my perspective, it still requires patience. What are your thoughts? Let's look at the next verse together.
There is not an animal that lives on the earth, nor a being that flies on its wings, but forms part of communities like you. Nothing have we omitted from the book, and they all shall be gathered to their Lord in the end.
At that time, this statement was poetic, but in our era, modern zoology has proven that animals have complex structures, some of which are mentioned in the Quran, and will be shown to you later in the video. We will look together at the animal behavior mentioned in the Quran centuries ago.
And thy Lord taught the bee to build its cells in hills, on trees, and in men's habitations.
Today's science confirms that bees have a structured colony and communicate with each other through dance, orientation, and distance. The Quran mentioned this centuries ago, and honey has antibacterial and healing properties that science has now discovered. The next verse is about the spider. Let's look at this together.
The parable of those who take protectors other than Allah is that of the spider who builds to itself a house. But truly, the flimsiest of houses is the spider's house, if they but knew.
Silk, which is a very strong natural fiber. At the same time, a spider's web is fragile and a symbol of weakness. And in this verse, it beautifully and philosophically states that the love one gives to another master might be very strong like silk fibers, but at the same time it is very weak and fragile like a spider's web and house. Let's examine the next verse together.
Do they not observe the birds above them, spreading their wings and folding them in? None can uphold them except Allah. Most gracious, truly Allah. Most gracious. Truly it is He that watches over all things.
Modern science has discovered that birds have a genetic knowledge for navigation. Professor Hamburg, in his book titled Power and Uncertainty, mentions a bird called the martin bird, which travels a path in the shape of an 8, covering a distance of 25,000 kilometers over the Pacific Ocean, following its own programmed route. This incredible feat is observed in many birds and is a system that has been refined. Let's review together. Milk production from the intestines and blood. Semen production from sperm. Animal societies. Bee communication. Architecture and fragility of spiders. Bird migration through their encoded DNA. These were not myths. These were invisible truths centuries ago that have now been discovered by science. So the question is, was it accidental? In my opinion, it's bearable. Because if there are one or two phrases and some errors, you can stand against it. But a large number of such phrases found without any errors relative to the science of that time. To understand the truth, we don't need religion. We just need curiosity and a bit of patience and questioning. Stay with us for the next video. We will share with you verses from the Quran that are discussed in human embryology. If you like this video, be sure to like it, share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to our channel to see our next videos. Goodbye until the next video.